Next up, we're going to click on the Basic for Android icon to launch Basic for Android. We're going to go ahead and click the close box here. And now we're going to take a little tour of the Basic for Android app. This is a typical Windows application with a File menu, an Edit menu, a Help menu, and some menus in between. It also has typical Windows-based document application icons at the top, the first one being Create a new file, Open an existing file, Save a file, Copy, Cut, Paste, Undo, Redo, Find, and Quick Search. There's a number of other things that are related to specifically basic programming that you're going to do here inside Basic for Android, and you can go ahead and explore those on your own. The main thing you're interested in is the fact that here we have the basic structure of an application that runs on the Android that is set up in a language that is effectively Visual Basic. So in order to create controls on the screen, you begin by clicking the Designer menu, and it tells you that you can't do it until you save the project. So let's go ahead and save this project. We'll click Save, and we'll go to the Documents folder. It's highly recommended that you save each Basic for Android project inside of its own folder, because otherwise its files and objects, you see the Files folder here and the Objects folders, will be commingled with the other Basic for Android projects that you have. So we'll create a new folder. We'll call it Exploring B4A, and then we'll hit Enter. And then we'll double-click on Exploring B4A, and then we'll give it a name. We'll call it E1 for Exploring number 1. Now that we've saved it, we can go ahead to the Designer and add some controls to our project. You click on the Designer menu, and the Designer pops up. The Designer shows you two things. It shows you a control panel here on the left, and what's called the Abstract Designer here on the right. Now, the Abstract Designer is not an exact representation of what you see on your device. There are ways to hook up the Designer to an actual device so that you can see what's really going on and what it's going to look like. And we'll take a look at that when we get on to the movie that talks about testing Basic for Android on a device. But for now, you see over here on the left both the Main tab and the Designer Scripts tab. We're concerned only with the Main tab, and we need to add a number of what are called views, which are essentially controls. So we'll go to the Add View menu, and we'll add a button. And the button shows up there on the screen. Let's go ahead and move it up here. Let's make it wider. And then let's add a label. So we'll go to Add View and create a label. And we'll move that further down on the screen here. And we'll also make that wider. And we'll come up to the Add View, and we're going to create an Edit Text. And we'll move that down here and move it from the left and fill it out across the screen. Now, just because you've created things in the Designer doesn't mean they're already included in your Basic for Android application. What you have to do for that is you have to go to the Tools menu and select Generate Members. If you just click the items you want to generate, like Button 1, Edit Text 1, and Label 1, and click Generate Members, and then we'll close this and switch back to the code. And you'll see that now inside the subroutine called Globals, we have declarations for Button 1, Edit Text 1, and Label 1. But there's nothing there to be able to handle the button click or anything else. So we'll go back to the Designer, come back to the Tools menu, once again select Generate Members, and go to Button 1 and select Click. Now this will generate a subroutine click for Button 1 so that we can handle when somebody presses on the Button 1 object. And we'll close, come back to the code, and you see we now have a Button 1 click. We're going to make an app that's real simple. We're going to have the user put their name inside the edit box, and then we're going to put hello and their name inside the label. So we'll start out by saying dim hello string as string. Then we'll fill hello string with the word hello and a space, and then we'll concatenate it with the edit text 1.text, whatever the user's typed into the text field, and then we'll set the label text equal to hello string. And now let's go ahead and run this. And we'll type in a name. Perhaps your name is Joe, and click on Say Hello. And there now you can see that we extracted the text from the edit text box, added the word hello to the front of it, and put it into the label. All right, that's a quick overview of the functionality of Basic for Android. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about how to test Basic for Android apps on an Android device, and then we'll get right into building the Color Spotter app.